Phil, congratulations on getting the next couple of years sorted. What are your immediate thoughts on having it done?
It's still a little bit raw, to tell you the truth, Matty. You know, the fact that we went down, and when I say we now, it's obviously a communal we. I've committed to myself and to Macca and to the football club for the next couple of years. Hopefully it's non-stop success from now on. We've got a lot of hard work to do. You know, the players are away from here at the moment. There's an awful lot of players whose contracts are up. I'll be having conversations with them individually, whether they want to stay or whether we want to keep them. Then I've got obviously conversations with the players that are at the football club at the moment and under contract, and making sure that they're, in no uncertain terms, understand what's required to be a Kidderminster Harriers player. Obviously it's in the National League North. I'm going to a game tonight to start getting acclimatised. You know, you've got to sort of acclimatise yourself to the weights the National League North is, and how brutal people tell me it is. I want to see it firsthand, you know. So I'm going to one of the games, the playoff games tonight, and hopefully I'll get a good view of that. See what it's like to be at the top end of the division, because that's where we need to pitch in at, you know. We need to be aiming for success from minute one. The players will have some time off away from the football club, but by the time we come back, which will be probably in a couple of months' time, by that time we'll have done a lot of negotiating off the field of play, and hopefully have brought in one or two new players to the football club. That's going to give us breathe some new life into us, you know. Come the end of the season, last year it was dying slowly but surely, you know. The light was going out, and eventually it did go out, which was not a nice feeling for a manager, you know. So regardless of what's gone in the past, it's what's going to happen from now on. That's the main thing. A Phil Brown way of playing, if you like, a Phil Brown team, a Phil Brown philosophy. Neil MacDonald, hopefully, just talking to my left hand side here, to the chairman, and hopefully Neil will be putting pen to paper as well, with a new contract. And then it starts where recruitment's concerned. I've got to get the backroom staff all organised and hopefully in place in time for a professional approach, because that's what we need to be. We need to be professional. I don't think we were as professional as what we should have been last season. It's probably one of the main reasons why we went down. But I've got to say it, you know, I think we did have an impact, there's no doubt about it, but the impact on the players that were at the football club, the ones who we did have the right impact on, will be still here next year.
How important is it for you to get the balance right in terms of learning the lessons that need to be learned from the difficult parts of last season, but also drawing a line under it as well to move forward?
I think you've got to draw a line on it, because that's what managers do, you know, game in, game out, year in, year out. You know, you've got to evolve as a team, you've got to evolve as a personality, and your team has to evolve as well. They have to understand what I'm all about. And when I first came here, albeit three and a half, 4 months ago, we played a type of football that I'm not saying we're going to be playing next year. You know, my philosophy wasn't a question. It was just a case of winning enough games of football to stay in the National League, and we didn't. But at the start, I saw great pictures from an awful lot of the players. But they, as I said, slowly them pictures just eroded, became very vague, you know, and that's probably the analogy I would make of the season. The season became vague, you know. The season was well supported by the people that put bums on seats in here. You know, they were coming to be not just entertained, they wanted to be excited, they wanted to be supporting a winning team or a winning combination. And at the start of our tenure, I think we got that right, but the balance eventually fell foul of the wrong side of the line, as it were, and we got relegated. Even saying that word hurts to me, and I hopefully it's hurt enough for the players that they never want that to happen again. But I've got to get the right mentality in the football club to turn this, if you like, this ship around and point it in the right direction. And the right direction has got to be aiming for promotion first and foremost. That's got to be our priority, and having a successful season, but having a successful pre-season, I think that's going to be important as well, so that we get the bond and the blend of players that are coming into the football club right, and that we send them the right message out to the supporters that hopefully will continue to put bums on seats and support this wonderful club.
You have a clearish canvas to work with now. I suppose you have a close season, if you like, in terms of preparation. Loosely, what does a Phil Brown squad look like now you had the chance to create one?
I think we've got to have a little bit of a combination of a couple of things if truth be known. I want to have that creativity that we didn't have at the end of last season, to be able to put the ball in the back of the net in times where games are tight. Games are close, and if it's 0-0, 1-1, if it's a tight game, one goal in it coming into the last 75, 80 minutes, or sorry, should I say the last 10, 15 minutes of a game, you've got to have somebody that's got to have the right mentality, the right fitness levels, and the right, I think it's the thought process when you're under pressure, that you have the calm influence of being able to put the ball in the back of the net at the right time. I think you see big moments in games in every division, and coming to the end of last season, we had big moments in a lot of the games, including the last game of the season against Barnet. We had a couple of occasions where if we had just stayed calm in that final third and that final moment and put the ball into the back of the net, that puts the opposition under pressure and it gets our supporters off their seat. So I've got to have that kind of calmness in the final third, but I also want to have clean sheet mentality. Clean sheet mentality is a collective mentality that when you're defending, everybody defends. When you're attacking, everybody attacks. When you've got the ball, everybody's committing to the pass. And when you haven't got the ball, you're working hard to get the ball back. We've got to have pace in the team. We've got to have creativity in the team. We've got to have an understanding from 1 to 11 that everyone understands the game plan. And all of that is a football mentality that we're trying to bring, or going to try to bring to this football club from an individual perspective and then a collective. I think if Neil agrees terms and he puts pen to paper, I think the backroom staff is vitally important, that we get these players fit, organised, and pointing in the right direction, so that when that first game comes along, that we're ready for action. And I know every manager in the Football League and every manager in the non-leagues will be saying exactly these same words, but we've got to show that in the 6-7 weeks in pre-season to make sure that we get, first and foremost, the recruitment right, and then secondly, the way we play right.
Yeah, and is it one of those where, again, conversations are going to be taking place, and with that there are variables, of course, where players are concerned, but would you like to try and retain some of what you have here as well as adding to it?
Well, if you look at the statistics from last season, you would say that there wasn't really too much wrong defensively. We had a goalkeeper that kept 13 clean sheets. That in itself should have been at least in the top 6 of the division. But we've only scored 40 goals collectively. And since myself and Neil arrived, I think we only got 20 goals. So we shared probably 20 goals each for ourselves and the previous incumbent. But they got theirs in 28 games, we got ours in 18 games. It's still not quite enough. You need to do something in terms of promotion. You need to get 2 goals per game minimum. And if you've got couple that with clean sheets, the odd occasion when you do concede a goal, you can still win games of football. We have to have the belief in both penalty boxes. So we've got to make sure that we don't clear the decks completely, that the identity of Kidderminster Harriers remains intact. And there's 1 or 2 players that wear that identity with pride, and without naming names, the ones that will remain at the football club will be the ones that I'm talking about.
You talk about identity there. You've obviously spent time with the chairman and you've had your various discussions, not just today but over the last number of weeks. What are your thoughts in terms of what he's kind of asking of you and your team over the next couple of years, and vice versa, really, what you expect of the club? I
don't think he's asking, I think he's demanding. I think it's about time, the amount of investment that the chairman's given to the football club over the years. He can make them demands, and I'm willing to step up to the plate with regards to them demands. I think what he's looking at is organisation. He's looking for clarity, he's looking for reasons, and he's looking to take the excuses away from players and staff, if truth be known. And I'm 100% behind that kind of cause. If you get up in the morning and you're full of excuses, you're not really going to get up. You might as well stay in bed, as far as I'm concerned. And I want people that are going to commit to the cause. But we have to have a cause, first and foremost. That cause can't just be promotion, it's got to be bigger. It's got to be a bigger picture. The cause has got to be how we play the game, how we approach the game. Are we respectful of the opposition, and then can we play good enough football to beat the opposition? All of these things are part and parcel of life, and if we get the right kind of collective mentality where the group's concerned, that there's no weaknesses anywhere, and we play a style of football that's what I call man and a half football, that you're not just taking care of your own position, you're taking care of your teammate alongside you. When you've got that spirit, then you've got a good chance of being successful. That's the demands the chairman's putting on myself and Neil. That's the kind of demands we'll be putting on the staff to put on the players. And if we get it right, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have a good season. But I can't really talk about the season so far until we get our recruitment right. And I think the players that are coming into the football club will reflect that.
I have to talk about the supporters before we finish. I know obviously you've invested in them and they've invested it in you. How important is it that they kind of back you on this journey now? Because it's a big ask when you think that, and it's not speaking out of turn to say, the home form over the last 18 months, 2 years hasn't been good enough. It needs to improve, but we've all, as you say, collectively got to buy in and jump back on board, haven't we?
I think the supporters have been one of the main reasons why I put pen to paper. I think they've been nothing short of brilliant in terms of support for myself and Neil personally. I don't think there's been a bad word said against us, and that's maybe because of the time that we did come in, we gave everybody hope. Well, that hope has to start from minute one. That belief has to start from minute one. And if the supporters continue to do the kind of unbelievable things that they do, I mean, come the end of last season, it was quite funny at the time when you see people that were dressed in the same clothes as what I'm wearing and being at the Barnet game. But even turning out at Barnet, when you know full well that your team's already gone down, to turn out in the numbers that they did and to make the noise that they did, we hopefully gave them a little bit of a glimpse of maybe what we can do. I thought the second half, for 20-25 minutes, we let the handbrake off a wee bit, and we got a goal and got ourselves back into the game and had 3 or 4 great chances. But we also had a young side, and that young side actually gave a good account of themselves. I think the young players that represented Kidderminster Harriers that last day of last season will be the type of player that's going to represent Kidderminster Harriers this season. And I'm not just going to say I'm flooding it with young players. I want that blend of youth and experience, which every manager wants. The youth normally gives you a little bit of excitement. It also gives you energy in a team, and the experience calms you and helps you get over the line, and if we can get that blend, that youth and experience right, then again, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have a great season.